Second, I'll start. Okay. So I'm back on just for a quick one here. Um, been a while since I did any streaming. Not going to be super professional, but anyone who's seen me do stuff before, it wasn't so professional before. But that's fine. I am looking to do this weekly going forwards. Um, as I said before, but I'm going to try and stick to it this time. Going to carry on doing a little bit of political ranting. Hopefully, get other people on to get their views as well. Um, I very much like in there's a YouTuber called Supertansky, two eyes, ski, um, and she's very funny. I wouldn't want to replicate what she's doing. There's other people like that out there as well who are just very entertaining at ranting and stuff like that. I would look to do more of a sort of a unifying thing. I mean, it is unifying. Nigel Farage is a cunt. That is a fairly unifying message. Um, but there is still a lot of stuff in there which is calling calling Farage's supporters stupid bastards and similar is, I don't know, it's not gonna win them over. I don't think. It would be good to lay out the facts. Try and get some people on board, just on the basis of you know, um, all of the evidence is there for who he is. Um, but yeah, check out Super Tansky. She's very funny. Um, uh, I know she does paid live streams, which is nice feature to YouTube. I don't think I'd jump into that right away. But something for the future. Good to know that there's sort of decent revenue streams there for essentially built-in Patreon. Um, there's some other features which are going to be useful if I do what I would like to do, which is they're not just politics, a lot of other subjects. YouTube algorithms don't tend to like that, but um, I noticed was another good one was that went well with Jonathan Pye and Jeff Norcott from the Daily Mash. Um, they did like a quite a short run, um, guys chatting kind of podcast. I thought it was really good. Um, but also they used a feature where they have their own YouTube channels. And this stream went out on like all three channels. So they created a new channel for that went well, and um, they also had their own channels. It showed that it was going out on all of them. So technically, you can watch it within their own channel, um, and that has the benefit of, well, working with other people. That could be useful. Uh, you might have a airplane in the background. Apologies. It's just very warm, so I've got the door open, and we're on the flight path to Heathrow. So hopefully the weather cools down when I'm looking to do this a bit more professional looking. Anyway, I was gonna jump on and talk about a few bits. I don't know if I talked about my method here for live streaming. It's quite basic. Considering I'm an AV engineer, it is a very slapshot kind of a setup. But it is. I've got another laptop. I've got a laptop running there into my PC, but as a camera. And I'm removing the green screen. So when I click a button on my little presentation clicker, there you go. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Count bin face. Obviously, that's been quite amusing to watch. Um, but it's um it's one of those. It is both less and more important than people have said, kind of simultaneously. The memes have been fun. I very much liked this one. And what else did we got in the bag? There are so many. This one was one of my favorites. That's not so much a meme. That is the fact that Count Binface has a probably can't read that. Count Binface had the inestimable honor of having a drag queen copycat act, and that's it's one of those where it's just like that's pretty good going. But it's also one of those. I don't think that's going to happen for Farage. I kind of hope he's not got a drag queen copycat. That's a horrifying image. Sorry for putting that in your head, but it was in mine, so there you go. Um, so what else did we have? Yeah, only the letter O separates the main two candidates. On the one hand, we have the account, and the other hand, we have a. So yeah, Twitter's been having a lot of fun with this as well. This one I liked being a Red Dwarf fan. If you don't know what Red Dwarf is, go look it up, give it a try. But you're probably not going to turn into a fan now. But yeah, how much does he spend on it? Spend whole £10,000 to fight a bin. Yep. I would be surprised if it's only £10,000, to be honest, because he had this whole Farage Fest. I didn't pick up any images, but go look up Farage Fest. It's ridiculous. It's just it's the saddest place on earth, honestly. Yeah. So I might check that out in a minute and see if I can bring something up quickly. Quick switch over, but this one I really liked. Sort of, it still actually works even if Binface lost, because one of the things here is that did he lose really? I forgot to throw my own meme in there, but it was the title card for this video is the little meme I made because I thought that existed. I had to sit there in the office and throw it together on my phone. Just because, yeah, when you've got all of these people running around going, yeah, Farage won, it's just like just throw that back at him. Did he? You know? And I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec, but yeah. Um, here we go. Yeah, why we have already won. So this was before the end of it. Um, and yeah, so nice simple map. I wish people could understand it. It's not that hard. Who won the election? Well, Farage did by vote, with fewer votes than 2024. No, he gained 1,000 despite having no real contenders. um, but yeah, no, he got more with less than majority. No, no, he did actually have slightly higher majority. Again, without any major parties going against him. But yeah, okay. Um, and then you still end up on common standards investigation into his conduct continues. And this is where we get into the by luck or judgment, I assume luck. This could actually go Farage's way. And it, not this one now, but down the line, you see the problem we have. Um, Everyone's talking about a next by-election, um, and that will be based on the results of the inquiry. I can't imagine a situation where the inquiry goes, yeah, Farage did nothing wrong. I just can't imagine that. If it happens, then this was all fucking pointless. But he's basically admitted it. Like, why would you have this to decide whether you're guilty if there's nothing there, or you think you? Anyway, um, so the problem is the standards inquiry can force it. I think they can force a by-election, but they're more likely to say um, the residents of Clacton have the opportunity to um, kick in a by-election, um, and that's a bit of a tricky situation because like Farage was the only one that wanted this. Asking them to vote for another one, knowing the cost, knowing that the spotlight goes on them again, it's it's a tricky one. I don't, and it causes division in that community that they don't need. The Farage has always been great. This is it's very difficult to put my head into and stuff like that. So yeah. Quick look at the figure. And it's just a pie chart. I don't know why I'm saying figures, but there's your is that the Clapton? Yeah. Yeah, he's still got less than half, right? Check that on the phone. So right, what that is that is the first Clacton where Farage won. Um, and he did not get a majority of the people who showed up to vote. Obviously, that's not the amount of people that live there. What's next? Okay, yeah. So, you're looking at Clacton the first time round, and then Makerfield. Um, and so basically, Farage is trying to make out that like, oh, this is just the same as Makerfield. It has no commonality. Um, there was a article that is an amazing pile of horse manure. Um, so if you've never heard of Richard Littlejohn, or as most people like to call him, Dick Littlejohn, um, uh, your life is better. It's better without him in it, really. Um, but yeah, he's put something out on the Daily Mail. What is it? Yesterday. Um, and it's crazy. He starts off by talking about Radio Caroline, and then he's like, on August 14th, 67, hugely popular pirate ship Radio Caroline anchored off Clacton. Um, and then essentially skip forward Nigel Farage in 2026. What do they have to do with each other? I know you say it's anti-establishment, but that's no. It's just not. Have a read of it and just be ready to be angry and amused at the same time. Kind of most people's reaction to this man. Um, but it's one of those amazing things where people somehow get away with this, where it's they sit there and they'll say like, oh, he's backed by the Binface is backed by the establishment, but he's not a real candidate. Um, but also it's a massive victory, and they're expecting their readers that they're expecting their supporters be stupid enough to not to just go along with that. Um, and it just doesn't work. This Makerfield was a massive victory. Admittedly, Farage back in the day in Clacton, that was a victory for him. But it was not the overwhelming victory because if those other parties had got together, he wouldn't have done so well. Um, if one of them had stood back, or if Labour had pushed a real, however it went, it could have gone a different way. He's right to celebrate that. There's nothing compared to that, which is every major party gunning for him, and reform being the biggest one and falling massively short. The right wing parties put together do not add up to um, Burnham's figure. But what they will say is there was 1,000 votes between Clacton this time. The by-election, there's 1,000 between him and um, Burnham in Makerfield. Burnham was fighting against opponents. Binface, much as I love him, was not an opponent, except in this race. He has always been a comedy candidate. I put £10 on it. Do you know why? Because just on the odd off chance that he comes in, I want to be able to say, yeah, this £100 is for you, Farage. This is from well done. Um, but yeah, so here's my thing. I said about Richard Littlejohn, Dick Littlejohn, sorry. Um, trying to get pull one over on the readers, which they do often. It is often successful, right? But this I do not like. Um, I I will admit to finding it funny. It is amusingly worded, but I do think we should try and stop that because when it comes down to it, you're not stupid for falling for rhetoric. It's designed to get you. Like just like you're not stupid for becoming an alcoholic, right? Um, it's not about smart or dumb. It is something that you are susceptible to, right? And how do you get susceptible to that rhetoric? There's a lot of different ways, right? One of them is the main thing that drew Farage to Clacton: severe poverty. It's just like um and like if a place has always been poor, it's different. But if it's been brought low, that's a really good tinderbox for peaceful radicalization. Is what they're looking for, right? Um, and so Clacton was a seaside town, and it was prosperous at a time period, and over a course of 100 years, it's just been they brought lower and lower, and it's literally washing away into the sea. You couldn't think of a better breeding ground for the guy who wants to be the next Mosley. Um, and so they're not stupid. I mean, some of them are. It's rude to say they're not, right? But a lot of them are doing something stupid. They're not a stupid person, but they keep falling for these people, right? People in America keep falling for Trump's stuff. It's so transparent to everyone else, and you do sort of go, "Oh, they've got to be stupid." Well, no, they don't have to be stupid. Some of them will be, yes. Stupid people are easily led, but like the rest of them, they've gone down a road, and they to turn back around, they have to realize that they were in a bad position 10 years ago, and 10 years of effort and faith and trust and everything has led them to a worse place. Um, and you almost don't want to make them realize too quickly because that's when bad things are done. But very rarely does that happen towards right wing figures. Um, yeah. So, um, unfortunately, this isn't over yet. There's Little John again. It's different. Oh no, that is the same article. Okay. Yes. So this is his article. This isn't over yet. The establishment will continue their efforts to destroy Farage. Um, if by the establishment you mean the government body that oversees MPs and looks into their finances and does the barest of jobs, it is better than other countries. Um, America being one of the top of the list. Um, uh, but this is a government body just doing their job. They're not exciting people. They are asked to look into someone, and they go, Yeah, we'll look into that. And that continues as it always was going to. Um, but it always was going to. That's that. This whole thing has been a complete farce, and watching them trying to get people to go, yay, Farage won, is just sad. It is, for me, it's reminiscent of 1984. Not in the way that usually people say. Um, it is. There's a figure in the book. I mostly recognize him from the film because he's very well played. Um, and he's this character who's just so in lockstep. He's such a, you know, blind believer um in the party, and you see the cracks forming, but they really can never really break because he is so in deep. And he is the most saddening character because he does get, he gets hauled away. Because they regularly just torture people. Just I don't know, are they getting information? Really, it's just something these kinds of mechanisms do. Um, and yeah, he comes back and he's just like, oh, it's great, isn't it? He's got the black eye and it's just in so deep. Um, anyway, this is what people are going to continue voting for if they vote for reform and Farage. This is one of his party, Robert Jenrick. Britain should never lack water. I agree, right? Uh, Instead of charging families during hot periods, hosepipe bans, blah 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 blah. We're a wet nation, yes. Well, that is changing though, isn't it? Because of global warming, which you don't like to talk about. Um, Reform UK believe in abundance of energy, of housing, of water. Okay. Um, Abundance doesn't last. You can make it. You can help things, but abundance isn't something you can bank on or just automatically create, right? Um, they have no plans for housing. They don't plan to at all regulate the energy industry, and they have no plans to regulate the water industry. At this point, the water industry really should be at least part nationalised because they just haven't been doing the fucking job, right? Reform UK will build the reservoirs. How? Are you going to use public money for it? I will start a riot. These people have just taken the profits. They should have built the reservoir. They should have been cleaning the rivers. And they've just used every excuse under the. When it was the Tories, they didn't need to use excuses. Keep it barely okay, and it's fine. But as soon as it started eating into their profit margin, not costing them money, they're still using our money to pay themselves big bonuses and stuff. But as soon as it started eating into their bonuses one fucking iota, they claimed, "Oh, everything costs more now, so we're just going to charge you more and still not do do less." Um, you you get into power and you build a reservoir and blowing it up. Just like not an actionable threat. Okay, just they would do Tories but worse. And we know this because Rob Jenrick is with the Tories. He's trying to say that, oh, they should. Why haven't they built reservoirs? I don't know. You were there. I think you just didn't want to push people in business because you get a Tory government, you get a Reform government. There is somebody who is in the pocket of every big business, and they'll be the ones that are like, oh no, you don't want to do that, mate. Let me just put me in charge of the water committee. Yeah, I know these people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You do. That's why you shouldn't be in charge. I know. Okay. And so that's the thing. Would people need to know what reform stand for? It's not anything good, not anything that will benefit your life. Um, they'll throw around dog whistle phrases to get you to go along with everything, but they won't actually give you anything. They'll just steal from you. It'll be the Tories, but worse. Like Donald Trump, his second term, but worse. What's a way another way? Donald Trump is the Republicans of old, but worse in both aptitude and how much they're stealing. That's reform. Reform is Trump's Republican Party. Just giving up on any semblance of being for the people, really. Um, so they're right. Let's go back to that. It isn't over yet. It was never going to be, even if Farage lost to a bin face. It, that was unlikely to happen, but it still wouldn't have been over. Farage would have gone back to his. It's the establishment. I was attacked. Who was funding him? He was a bin. He wasn't being funded by anyone. Um, but it isn't over, and it won't be over for a while. And this is one of those weird ones where actually getting online and talking to people and trying to meet people where they are, commenting on wildly ludicrous posts, it does help. It's not everything, but anyone with any aptitude for local government and who isn't like that guy, maybe give it a go. I don't think I'd be very good at politics. I'm very easily distracted, as you might have seen on ill prepared. I could maybe change that, but yeah, um, I would like to get people together and contributing to something like this. It doesn't have to put together a bit of a show, get people on to talk about their views, even if that is the people who are Farage people. I would probably definitely have a mute button because at a certain point they're just spewing sewage. I don't know how you do this, but maybe a fact checker. Um, Fact checker would be good. Maybe have the whole audience be the fact checker, and if something comes through that proves something someone has said is absolute codswallop, that person gets muted for 30 seconds. The other one gets to retort. I don't know, something along those lines. So what else did I have for you? Yes, the other thing with the water stuff is they're blaming it on migrants. Of course. Robert Jenrick, one of the big guys in Reform, was in the Tories for 14 fucking years, or part of the Tories whilst they were in power for 14 years. Don't know the numbers. Um, and no, of course it wasn't the Tories. Of course it wasn't. Decades of decline. Yeah, I'm putting New Labour in there as well. They did stuff. They were New Labour, so they were cozy with the businesses, to say the least. Um, but yeah, no, let's somehow blame postpipe bans on migrants. Migrants. Yeah. Anyone can explain that to me, that would be great. That's the last of my slides. I'm going to leave it there for today. Mostly just a warm up, but we'll be back next week with a bit more professional. It does work nicely, actually, though. Um, Pardon me. Um, so yeah, I'll be back next week. And anyone want to get involved in doing some collaborative kind of shows, more than up for that.